Have you ever felt the sting of your own hypocrisy? That sickening, sinking feeling when you realize you have failed to live up to the very standards you set for yourself. You make a promise. You declare an intention. You believe with all your heart that you are a person of integrity. And then, under pressure, in a moment of fear or weakness, you betray that ideal. And the person you thought you were shatters. This profound, painful, and universal human experience is the gateway to understanding one of the most important figures in all of Western history. A man whose entire identity was forged not in his strength, but in the crucible of his greatest failure. The Apostle Peter. This is not a simple story of a saint. This is a deep, psychological exploration of a passionate, impulsive, and profoundly relatable man. It is a story that offers a radical reframing of failure itself, not as an endpoint, but as the raw material for a stronger, more authentic, and more beautiful identity. To understand this, we need a metaphor, a powerful concept from a different ancient tradition, the Japanese art of Kintsugi. Kintsugi, or golden joinery, is the craft of repairing broken pottery. But instead of trying to hide the cracks, the Kintsugi master emphasizes them, filling them with a lacquer mixed with powdered gold, silver, or platinum. The philosophy behind it is profound. The object is not discarded because it is broken. It is not simply restored to its original state. It becomes more beautiful, more valuable, and more resilient for having been broken. The lines of fracture tell its story. They become a celebrated part of its history. The life of Peter is the ultimate story of a Kintsugi soul. Let's first look at the vessel before it was broken. Peter is the archetypal first responder. He is all in, all heart, all action. When Jesus walks on water, it is Peter who impulsively jumps out of the boat. When Jesus asks the disciples, "Who do you say that I am?" it is Peter who has the lightning-fast insight. "You are the Christ, the Son of the living God." His passion is his superpower. Jesus recognizes this raw potential. He gives him a new name, Peter, or Petros in Greek, meaning the rock. He declares, "On this rock I will build my church." This becomes Peter's new identity. He is the rock, solid, dependable, the foundation, and he embraces this identity with his whole being. On the night of the Last Supper, as the atmosphere grows dark and foreboding, Jesus predicts that all his disciples will fall away. Peter the rock is indignant. His response is a portrait of heartfelt but fatally overconfident loyalty. "Even if all fall away on account of you, I never will." And then he escalates his promise. "Even if I have to die with you, I will not disown you." This is not a lie. In this moment, Peter believes this with every fiber of his being. He has built his self-concept on being the strong one, the loyal one, the rock. His identity is based on his own perceived strength and his unwavering commitment. He is a beautiful, flawless vessel, and he is about to be shattered into 1,000 pieces. The scene shifts to the courtyard of the high priest, hours later. Jesus has been arrested. Peter follows at a distance, a spectator to the unfolding tragedy. He is in the territory of fear. And here, his self-constructed identity collides with a raw, primal instinct for self-preservation. The first test comes from a servant girl, a person with no power, no authority. She recognizes him. You also were with Jesus of Galilee. A simple observation, but it is a direct challenge to Peter's safety. And his carefully constructed identity begins to crack. He denies it. I don't know what you're talking about. A flat defensive lie. The first fracture. He moves away, trying to become invisible. But another girl sees him. She tells the onlookers, "This fellow was with Jesus of Nazareth." The pressure mounts. The circle of accusation tightens. This time, his denial is stronger, more emphatic. He denies it with an oath, a sacred vow. I do not know the man. He is now using the very tools of religious commitment to commit an act of betrayal. The hypocrisy is escalating. The cracks are deepening. Finally, the third test. The bystanders approach him. Their argument is logical. "Surely you are one of them. Your accent gives you away." They have evidence. He is cornered. And in this final moment of panic, his identity as the rock completely disintegrates. The text says, he began to call down curses, and he swore to them, "I don't know the man." This is not just a denial. This is a complete and total renunciation. He is actively, violently severing himself from the person to whom he had just promised to be faithful unto death. The vessel shatters, and immediately the rooster crows. And then comes the most devastating moment in the entire narrative. The Gospel of Luke adds a heartbreaking detail. The Lord turned and looked straight at Peter. It is not a look of anger. It is not a look of condemnation. The text doesn't describe it, but our souls can. It is a look of recognition, a look of sorrow, a look that holds up a perfect mirror to the man who had just betrayed everything he claimed to be. And in that moment, Peter remembers his promise, and he sees what he has become. The text says, he went outside and wept bitterly. This is not just sadness. This is the agony of a shattered self. The man he thought he was, the rock, is a ruin. Everything he built his identity on, his passion, his loyalty, his strength, has proven to be an illusion. He is not a rock. He is dust. If you have ever had a moment like this, a rooster crow moment where you were confronted with the gap between who you want to be and who you just were, you understand this kind of weeping. If that feeling resonates, consider liking this video as a quiet acknowledgement of our shared human brokenness. For a time, this is where the story seems to end. Peter is broken. After the crucifixion and resurrection, we find him not leading the disciples, but retreating. He says to the others, "I'm going fishing." This is not a recreational trip. This is a retreat to his old life, his old identity. Before he was the rock, he was Simon, the fisherman. He's going back to what he knows. He is abandoning the new identity that ended in such catastrophic failure. He is a man living among the shards of his former self. And then comes the master Kintsugi artist. The scene is on the shore of the Sea of Galilee. The disciples have been fishing all night and have caught nothing. A perfect metaphor for their own sense of futility. A figure on the shore calls out to them, tells them to cast their net on the other side of the boat. They do, and the net is so full of fish they can't haul it in. And in that moment of miraculous abundance, the disciple John recognizes him. It is the Lord. Peter, in another moment of pure, unthinking impulse, throws himself into the water and swims to shore. The same impulsiveness that led to his promise is now leading him to the source of his healing. When they get to the shore, they find a charcoal fire with fish cooking on it and some bread. This is a profound psychological detail. The last time Peter was near a charcoal fire was in the courtyard, the night he denied Jesus. Jesus is not avoiding the scene of the crime. He is gently, lovingly recreating it. He is taking Peter back to the place of his trauma, not to shame him, but to heal him. He invites them to breakfast, an act of simple, human communion. He serves them. He restores their bodies before he begins to restore Peter's soul. After they have eaten, Jesus turns to Peter. He doesn't say, "Peter, do you remember that night in the courtyard?" He doesn't bring up the failure. He asks a simple, profound question. "Simon, son of John, do you love me more than these?" Notice, he does not call him Peter. He calls him Simon, son of John. He takes him back to his old identity, before the title, before the promise, before the failure. He's starting from the beginning. And he asks if Peter loves him more than these. A gentle echo of Peter's own boast. "Even if all fall away, I never will." The old boastful Peter is gone. His reply is humble, stripped of all self-confidence. "Yes, Lord, you know that I love you." There is a nuance here in the original Greek that is often lost. Jesus asks, "Do you agape me?" Using the word for unconditional, divine, self-sacrificial love. Peter replies, "I phileo you," using the word for brotherly affection, for friendship. The rock who promised to die for Jesus is gone. In his place is a humbled man who can no longer claim that kind of perfect love. He can only offer his flawed, human affection, and Jesus accepts it. "Feed my lambs." He takes Peter's broken offering and gives him a new purpose. Jesus asks him a second time, "Simon, son of John, do you agape me?" Again, Peter's response is the same. He does not rise to the challenge of agape love. He knows he is incapable of it on his own. "Yes, Lord, you know that I love you." And again, Jesus accepts it. "Take care of my sheep." The second piece of the shattered vessel is put back in place. Then, a third time. And this time, Jesus changes his question. He meets Peter where he is. "Simon, son of John, do you phileo me?" He steps down to Peter's level. He asks for the only kind of love that Peter, in his broken honesty, can offer. The text says Peter was hurt because he asked him a third time. Of course he was. The threefold question is a clear, unmistakable echo of the threefold denial. This is not a punishment. This is the final, beautiful act of Kintsugi. Jesus is tracing the lines of Peter's greatest failure, not with accusation, but with a question of love. And for the third time, Peter gives his simple, honest, broken answer. "Lord, you know all things. You know that I phileo you." It is a confession of total transparency. I have no more masks. I have no more promises. I cannot claim to be the rock. All I can tell you is that in my brokenness, I love you. You know everything. You know my failure and you know my heart. And with that final, honest confession, the repair is complete. Jesus gives him his final commission: feed my sheep. The restoration is finished. Peter's new identity is not built on his own strength or his ability to keep promises. It is built on his failure and on the love that met him in his brokenness. The cracks have been filled with gold. The vessel is not just repaired, it is more beautiful, more profound, and infinitely stronger than it was before. This is the profound hope in the story of Peter. It suggests that our moments of greatest failure, shame, and self-betrayal are not the end of our story. They are the moments where the real work can begin. They are the moments when the illusion of our self-made strength is shattered, creating an opening for a deeper, more resilient identity to be formed. An identity based not on our perfection, but on grace. So, look at the cracks in your own life, the failures, the broken promises, the moments of shame you try to hide. What if these are not signs of your worthlessness, but the very places where the gold can be poured in? What if your story, like Peter's, is not about becoming an unbreakable rock, but about becoming a beautiful, restored vessel, made stronger and more compassionate, precisely where you were broken? This is the heart of the Kintsugi soul. A soul that no longer fears its own fractures, but sees them as the testament to a story of grace. If this reframing of failure has offered you a new perspective, help us share this idea. Share this video with one person who might need to hear that their broken pieces are not the end. And subscribe to Soul Scripts as we continue to explore the beautiful, messy, and hopeful stories of what it means to be truly human.